All right, we are live, and this is Streaming with the Common Sense. I'm your host, Romer45, and here I have balcony seats.
What's up? What's up?
All right, okay. So what we were talking about a couple of things in the pre-chat, pre-live hangout. So it was ranging from Ghostbusters to SJWs, and now we're with Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah, we're a little bit all over the place. Some cancer, some good. So it's a nice place to be.
Yep, it's all a tangential conversation.
Right. And there's so much to talk about, and with everybody always focusing on differences, it's hard to sit there and let's find some commonality in between some awkward interests, some hobbies that we might have. So that's always nice to meet new people and actually try to find those conversations.
Exactly. I mean, the thing is, like, it's hard to know what's awkward nowadays when you have, gay pride parades going on and genderless babies being born without without a proper birth certificate. So
Yeah,
I think awkwardness is pretty much everything and nothing.
I think we are so desensitized now that awkwardness is something that has to be either a strength or a weakness. Either you have to have an opinion on something, or you're just too unintelligent to actually take the time and learn something. So it's a weird mixed bag that we have nowadays.
Exactly. But the important thing is that there are still I think the common link between all this awkwardness and conversations is common sense.
Yeah, well, common sense, and for some apparent reason, even if it's just daily life, people feel like they have to be on the attack, which I don't understand. Like, if a situation arises, why don't you meet halfway to help that person understand why they're affecting you in a way that they might not think that? So you tend to take everything as a conflict instead of a reasonable, sensible conversation where you can explain to somebody your differences and why they shouldn't do something or something to that nature.
Well, this is where society has failed because now we have decided to become too enabling and basically say that they're fine the way they are without realizing the consequences of who they are and what their actions are.
Right, but you have to realize too that we only are enabling certain individuals. We're only enabling people to feel a certain way. If you feel opposite to that, then now all of a sudden you're attacking the what social contract that we're supposed to have with each other. No, if I feel a different way, or if I want to smoke a cigarette, like if I'm outside, you're not going to ban me to do that. You can't control the whole airspace. I mean, in San Francisco, they're actually banning vapors and flavored tobaccos because the majority of people that use nicotine products are African Americans and LGBTQ plus TZQ people, whatever it is, and they're saying because they're taking the forward steps to protect people from the minorities that are being afflicted by this. No, you're infringing on my fucking rights, is what you're doing. If I want to go out and have a cigarette, fuck you. Let me go out and have a cigarette.
But it's harmful to you, and it's
Yeah,
harmful in secondhand smoking. That's offensive to everyone around, which
yes,
is true in a certain sense, but it all depends on how much exposure you have.
right. I mean, I'd be I'm understandably, if you came up to me and say, hey, I got asthma, put that out. But if I'm on a sidewalk wherever I live, I should have the right to do whatever I want. You can't sit there and tell me I can do this or can't do that. Unless I have an obligation to you, or like if I work for a company that's a tobacco-free company, I made that decision to enter that contract. Now, I can't people I just don't think I think we're over legislated by two people that are busybodies that want to control our lives. And I think now we're not fighting so much of left and right, but up and down. You know, being liberal or being authoritarian is really where the fight's at.
Well, that's essentially what the whole dilemma is between, in my opinion, between the liberals and the conservatives. Because in one side you've got you have a group of people who are extreme left wings
Mm-hmm.
who just want, like, diversity, like, in their own way, and then on the other side you have a group of authoritarians, like, who are no different than left wing, who want to give their own rules without, making sure that they only have one ideologue to follow.
Well, then here's my question. Then, would you say that somebody that's more libertarian, farther down on the political compass, where diversity really don't mean shit? Like, all I care about is leave me alone. You do you, I do me. I don't care if you're fucking neon green. Like, is that kind of where? Because I understand what liberalism is and where I lie because I'm obviously pointed a little right, but to
Mm-hmm.
me it doesn't matter if you're gay, straight, trans, or anything. I don't care about those things as long as you don't involve me in that. Like, do you just leave me alone? And I don't want to be governed in saying that I have to use certain pronouns and certain language. I should be able to be free enough where I can make those decisions. Now, if I'm speaking to you, and let's say you were trans, I would use your pronouns because that's the etiquette I was taught from a young age. Respect people to a point, till they disrespect you. Then we can have a dialogue as long as we're going to be open and honest with each other.
Hmm. I Well, I mean, that's a good one, actually, because, if you're not trying, I think that's the norm that most people are trying to have difficulty trying to answer, because most people, unfortunately, aren't able to control what is the fine line between being oppressive and non-oppressive.
Mm.
And
Yeah,
that's something that the leftists are trying to manipulate. They're trying to literally say that anything you do is now considered offensive. If you leave them alone, that's offensive. If you don't leave them alone, that's also offensive. So I mean, all these narratives are becoming extremely, screwed up. And that's why, most people don't even like most people in today's world, like, they all hate the liberals now for that, while missing the main point of what liberalism was supposed to be about, which was, accepting diversity. I mean, but of course there is a limit to accepting diversity. I think any kind of ism is a bad thing, because with any ism, when they get too much power, they get greedy, and then they use things to their own advantage, and then nobody gets pleased in the end. It
right.
all falls apart.
Right, I agree with that. And I think they kept on reaching and overreaching and uh, hijacked the word liberalism um, for selfish gain. Because I, I want to say diversity is a good word, but at the same time, it's not a good word because diversity of thought or diversity of skin color. Um,
That's the problem. Like, they
yeah,
only use the word diversity. They're not specific about what kind of diversity there is, which is how they try to manipulate people. Saying,
right,
no, we're just trying to be diverse, but this is where people get confused, and then they're like, what kind of diversity are you trying to promote? I mean, same goes with, like, equal rights. Like, what kind of equality are you trying to propose? Equality of outcome or equality of opportunity? That's
right,
the problem, that
right,
with, like, most of these, with liberalism and even conservatism at some points, they're not specific about what kind of what they're trying to promote.
Yeah, I could agree with that because, like I said, it's just so I'm definitely one of those people that believe an individual is. I don't look at groups. I look at individuals. So if Tyrone tried to carjack me, I don't think all black people are carjackers. It's just this one guy is a fucking douchebag. Um, so I hate that the fact that we we see stereotypes and we use stereotypes as a generalization to kind of address somebody. You know, how, in what manner should I talk to somebody? Then, as that person speaks with you, then you have a solid understanding of who that person is and how that conversation continues. I mean, stereotypes are hurtful in some aspects, but in other aspects, it makes you learn through, because stereotypes always change. Um, Everything has an evolution. So, like, if you go into a subset of people, you would have this one idea. Then your stereotypical idea, that subgroup will change according to your interactions with them. So, I mean, stereotypes is kind of a double-edged sword, honestly.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Like it's a huge double-edged sword when you're trying to like tell people like what like trying to describe a group of people because right now like it's like you said stereotypes are changing now and right now we have all these like it used to be about discriminating women and black people and now it's all changed to people that involve a very 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 small minority of the global population, the transgenders. I mean, it's something that's like made up. It doesn't exist. That's how screwed up it's become.
Well, transgender, trans race. Um, the
Yeah,
left just
trans
keep.
nigger. It's going to go as far as trans nigger or trans color or transhuman. Like I'm a trans feline. I'm like,
Hey, there's a couple
it's
times when I've openly admitted that I was transracial. At do you remember the Dave Chappelle show where they had the race a draft show?
oh yeah, that's oh my god.
So I got traded from the Caucasians to the Asians. So and they got you know uh, the Asians got the whole Wu Tang Clan and black people got Tiger Woods. So I Dave Chappelle in what that was early 2000s. So that shit was hilarious. But yeah, that's what
But
every time I hear transracial, I keep on thinking of that skit that Dave Chappelle did. But anyways, but yeah, I mean, the left just keeps on destroying its own arguments. I mean, look how much with the trans gender issue. So now everything's the way you feel. So it's something that you learned. So now when you talk about homosexuals, now it's not you're born that way. That's what you feel. So they're destroying their own arguments, and that's a beautiful thing, honestly, because it shows you that they overreach so much that they can't even follow their ideology all the way to, and the end point.
well, that's that actually there was an episode of The Simpsons where this actually foreshadowed SJWs. This is back in 1994. This was when they made up that festival, Do What You Feel,
Mm-hmm.
and of course, like the SJW narrative, it all collapsed in the end because it showed exactly what SJWs were. They just ended up lazy. They ended up just ruining their lives and trying to cause chaos, and
Yeah, that's
it
why you
just
always.
doesn't work.
Yeah, that's why you have to go over. It's facts over feels, right? So you always have to go with facts, and if you start denying science and biology and all these other things, um, you just end up in complete and utter chaos. You got to have some logical thinking in your process when you have conversations. Especially when you're trying to explain something to somebody. If they can't follow you, then maybe there's something wrong with your arguments.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's all like all of their arguments just come from their hormones instead of their brain.
Well, and gender euphoria, I mean, the science is still not out on it. They should be treating it as a psychological disease and not giving people medication and cutting off genitals and all this other crazy shit. I think you're putting the cart in front of the horse at this point. You need to take a step back and try to understand it better, because there's no science out there that is proving this stuff. I mean, there's certain people that it's worked for, but the actual success to failure ratio is crazy. Like, only a handful of people actually makes that transition and has a functional life with it. I could look up the stats, but no, I mean, that's just the thing. As you sit there and you talk about progressive ideas, like I said, they just keep on destroying themselves. They're digging a hole and they can't figure the way out. They just keep on digging.
Well, I mean, like this has been going on since the 1940s, especially in the U.S. Like with the whole with the whole idea of democracy, because like before SJWs, there was Planned Parenthood, um, there was World War II, there was the collapse of Wall Street. Like all of these were, organized events by people who were at the top of the food chain, who just wanted a way to profit off of themselves without worried about getting screwed over by people who were lower than them.
Right. Do you think? Well, I'll raise this question to you. Do you think a lot of people buy into socialism and the middle class and the upper class that want to create a revolution scenario, so they tend to try to bring about chaos in a way to create a revolution to overthrow what would be the empire of capitalism, which is the United States?
Wait, you're saying both the middle and the upper class?
This, well, wouldn't the upper class be the, well, you'd think George Soros and, well, it depends. I guess if are globalists the same people as communists? Could we draw that parallel, do you
No,
think?
no, no, no. The globalists are not the same as communists. Like the globalists they're manipulating the communists to do
Okay.
their work for them.
Okay.
Like it's all manipulation. It's all like, manipulating people just so that they can make a profit.
Okay. Well, if let's say we have a globalist society, so I had this conversation before with somebody. It was a long time ago, because they wanted to have like every country be a part. So they wanted the Star Trek. You're familiar with Star Trek, right?
Of course.
Okay, so they want to have the world government. So everything would be like the European Union, and there would be one overall government that controls the whole world. Now, would that be globalism, or would that be more of a socialism?
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's globalism,
Okay.
because it's all organized by a small group of people.
Mm-hmm.
The only difference is in the case of this world, there's not just like one person controlling everything. It's several groups of people who are controlling different factions of the world, and they tend to work with each other in order to get a profit. But like once they get their profits dried up, then they immediately backstab each other.
Okay.
So it's a very unstable bridge between the rest of the globalists. I mean, classically right now between Soros and Netanyahu,
Mm-hmm.
I think that's a classic example right now, because they're the same kind of people, Zionists, but they're both fighting. They're both on two different sides of the spectrum, just trying to decide who has the bigger dick.
Well, everything is a pissing contest. It doesn't matter what it is.
Exactly. I mean, like this whole thing between the Democrats and the Republicans, in my point of view, it's all a pissing contest, and it always has been. That's why, I was a little, I'm still a little concerned about what Trump is going to do, because when I saw him coming into the election, I saw him more as like a libertarian disguised as a Republican.
Yeah, I didn't think he was a Republican. He's definitely left leaning, but that's the thing too, is that the left has pushed so far left that everybody who's just leaning left is now on the right side of the spectrum. So it's hard because I honestly, the whole thing with Trump is I think he got tired of Obama talking shit. He just said, "Hold my beer. I got this." I don't know. I wouldn't, if I had any other choices. I think if I had a squirrel with a ruler, I would have picked the squirrel with the ruler besides Trump. Hillary was so fucking dirty that there was no way I could vote that way. And I sit there, I swear to God, I waited about 5-6 minutes before I even circled in who I wanted to vote for. It was terrifying. Either way, you're screwed.
Exactly. That was the problem. Like, even like the Green Party, the Libertarians, they're just smaller factions of the Democrats.
Right. A lot of people's talking about through podcasts I've heard is if there could be kind of a centrist party that they could actually hijack the libertarians. But see, I could almost go with liberalism, and I could take the little to the left, little to the right leanings. I could accept some of those. I could take a liberal principle as far as policies, but also a conservative economic policy. So I'm right in that area because I don't want to sit there and say I'm Republican, but holy crap! I mean, I can't. There's no way I can say I'm left. Like, there's no way I could be that far left. I mean, it's just fucking politics right now. It's just screwed up. It's like cafeteria politics right now. You just have to pick and choose what you want as far as belief.
The problem is, like, each of those beliefs are radicalized.
Yeah, but you don't see the evangelical or you don't see the Christians and the Bible thumpers. They have no power no more. They had the height of their power was in the 90s, and they've gone to the wayside for the most part.
Well, oh yeah, definitely.
Because you could say Pence, and Pence is vice president, but Trump had to have somebody who had enough knowledge and would take. I guarantee you, he reached out to a bunch of people, but they didn't want the workload that Mike Pence got. I guarantee you, Mike Pence does more than any vice president before him has done, because
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, he's had 10 years of Senate experience, which is why Trump picked him as his vice president, because this wasn't about, like, being amigos. This was all about, like, Trump trying to get his way to the top, and he needed someone who knew the Senate more than anybody else, which is why he picked Pence.
right. Like I said, the whole thing with Trump is it's kind of hard to figure out because I just for the life of me, I think it's just a giant ego stroke that he was just tired of being mocked and ridiculed, and he just said, "Fuck it, I can do this."
Well, I mean, he's still trying to be mocked and ridiculed, but now the Democrats are just straw manning everything, just trying to find anything that he does and just make it a joke, which is essentially him exposing the double standards of democracy.
Right, but name the last time you had anybody on the left that was actually funny. I mean, we can rehash the Ghostbuster thing. It's been a long time since anybody that's strong left leaning was hilarious. I mean, even if you look at George Carlin now, he would be more right than he is left.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. If Carlin was alive, he would definitely go more with the right. Like he made fun of both sides equally. I'd say he was centrist, even though he was, a little bit of a feminist, but not too much.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, feminism right now, third wave feminism is cancer. I think.
Oh no, third wave feminism is cancer. First wave is still a cancer, but it's more like a benign tumor, something that's, there, but it doesn't kill you yet.
That's hilarious. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, there, I would understand feminism more if we didn't segregate everything. And that's the other thing that's happening now too is everything's segregated. Like, why can't we just have universal? Can we have universal human rights? Can we have everybody's treated the same under the same scope? No, we have to talk about women or we have to talk about people.
Minorities.
Yeah. So I don't. If you have a vagina, there's a pay gap because you make 70 cents to a man because you make different life choices because you don't want to go on a construction site and go 70 feet in the air and weld metal. Like, that's something that you don't want to do. Now, if that's what you want to do, great. There's an opportunity for you. You can go do it, but the majority of women don't want to do that.
It's funny that you bring up the wage gap because I actually read from some of the hacked emails from Assange, and it actually states that most of the people that worked for Clinton, they actually ended up getting 73 cents. Like the females actually got 73 cents compared to the males who got $1.
Nice. Well,
Yeah,
Clinton.
so
Clinton's all about. You're with her, so you get a. Some of that had to go to the Clinton Foundation.
well, most of it went to the Clinton Foundation. I mean, like all the money that was taken, like from Haiti, 95% of it went to the Clinton Foundation.
Oh yeah, they're so corrupt, and that's why Oh, it was the emails. It was Russia. No, that bitch she was dirty. I
No,
mean,
no, Clinton is just like she was a lapdog. She was just following orders from Soros.
yeah, but
So
no, 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 no. Have you seen, like, even when she was running for Senate in New York, like she would go to rallies with majority of black people and then sit there and dance and whatever she was a puppet, but she was just doing anything to be like, look, I'm down with the African and black experience, I'm woke. No, bitch. No, you're fake. Like, I don't like you. Get out of my face. I know too many people like you. So, I mean, the other thing too is a lot of people don't realize is once you go up different classes, like working class to middle class, your experiences with people of diversity, I guess is the word for it, changes because you don't give a fuck who it is. They're either a part of your team or you don't care about them. It don't matter what color they are.
oh, but well, that's why they actually included some select few members who happen to be black or Hispanic, just so they could p- keep some of the other liberals mouths shut while still being like part of the Zionists.
Right. Yeah.
Like classic examples are Bakari Sellers, Don Lemon, Anna Navarro.
Don't Don Lemon, the black hole guy.
The black gay nigger, yes.
No, you remember when that flight disappeared? No one could find it. He was on live TV and said, "Well, it could be a possibility that the flight went into a small black hole." Bitch. So now the next
The
thing's gonna happen
fuck?
is we're gonna have real life Avengers. Did Thanos come and take that bitch, or what? What was going on? No, like seriously, Tim Pool fucking rants about it to this day about him going on air saying a black hole caused that flight to just disappear and they couldn't find it. It was absolutely just cringy. It's hilarious.
I think the cringiest thing is like him trying to get a piercing on live TV while he was drunk on New Year's Eve.
Oh man, yeah, it's weird. I mean, it's just the culture today, like tattoos. Like I could never get a tattoo. Probably when I was younger, I thought about it. But then I'm like, man, every douchebag I run into has a tattoo. I don't want. It's so mainstream now. Like there's reality TV shows of tattoos and bad tattoos and people fixing bad tattoos. I just, I don't get it. Like people have no. Everybody's sheep now. No one has independent thought anymore. They just go with whatever the majority goes with. It don't make sense to me.
Hmm. Well, it's like this all goes back to like what's the whole narrative of capitalist financing. It's all about the popular vote.
Well, yeah, you always wherever the money goes, that's where the trends are going to be. Um, and it's sad because no one has individual thought anymore, for the most part. And you would believe with so many people going to university nowadays that people could actually have rational, independent thought, but no, everything's just indoctrination of what you believe. Like somebody tells you how to think, somebody tells you how to analyze a situation. Like you can't figure that shit out on your own anymore.
Well, I think that is real selfishness. Like telling people what they should be thinking and what they should be doing.
Yeah. Well, that's how we become. That's how we gain power, right? So
Yep.
if I could control someone's thought and actions, then that person, I own that person, and I could move them in whatever direction I want.
Well, that's actually funny that you bring it up because this is exactly how John Rockefeller tried to manipulate the people back when he was, making oil
Mhm.
with like Standard Oil. Like he needed to find a way to convince people that only he was right, and that's where the idea of the TV came up, like with the news. And so he managed to buy every single media company out there. Like if there's a video called the Corbett Report, which shows like the rise and fall of oil,
Hmm.
which is it's a really good documentary. It's about an hour long, but it's extremely well written and well researched, and it shows you everything about how John Rockefeller's influence essentially changed everything um, from bad to worse in the United States.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out. I haven't seen that. Oh,
It's yeah, I'll send you the link later on, but it's a really good documentary. I mean, like it essentially explains like why why the Model T became popular, and then why the first combustion engine was really created, like the main reason behind its creation.
mhm. Yeah, I'm. Yeah, that it'd be interesting. It sounds interesting. I would have to check it out. I mean, I can't really add a lot onto it because I've never seen it.
Well,
Um,
all I can tell you is that like it's the whole like purpose of like Rockefeller is essentially to control everything. Like he's like the classic control freak. He's like what you would consider to be like a Machiavellian
oh, okay.
in the worst possible way.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's. I mean, even when you sit there and you talk about people that go into politics, um, have you seen the House of Cards?
I have.
So it's all about gaining power, right? So,
Well, yeah, it's
um,
about being in power and essentially have everything collapse around you.
right. Yeah. So I mean, a lot of people get in the position of politics. I'm not saying all, not all, but some people get in there because they want power. They want to live vicariously through being able to uh, change things. They want to have that status.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's. I mean, I don't know. I mean, politics, especially right now, is just everything's. It, it's a fucking blur.
Well, politics has always been a dirty subject, for over the past 100 years now. But it's just I haven't really been trying to get involved with it ever since
uh,
Trump got into decided he was running for president, because then when I heard his stance on the whole Israel Palestine two-state solution,
yeah,
that's when I actually got immediately hooked and jumped on the Trump train, because I was like, okay, finally a president that actually isn't sucking Israel's dick.
right. Well, the thing that brought me in politics was it was the same thing in the '90s, where in '80s, late '80s, was telling people, censoring people, like freedom of speech. I mean, not everybody has the freedom of speech we have in America, and I can get behind that. Like, even if me and you disagree, I'm okay with disagreeing with you. I might not like some of the things you say, but I'm not going to stop
Exactly.
saying
Well, you're
it.
not
I
going to
mean,
silence them. That's the problem.
and so that's my tilt, and that's kind of where I want to get on. That's kind of
Right.
where I got my voice from.
Yeah.
The
I
push.
I actually got my voice from my own dad, because he was he's probably he knows everything about politics and history when it comes to his own country, because he's from Serbia, and he tried to teach me everything that he knows about it ever since I was 8 years old. And the main thing that drew me in was when we went to a protest in Toronto. This was in regards to NATO bombing Serbia back in 1999. Sorry, yeah, NATO bombing Serbia back in 1999.
Okay.
Yeah, and what had happened was this was an event which didn't allow us to post our side of the story of why NATO actually bombed us, because it was to claim that we were harassing Albania, but the real truth was Albania was trying to take something from us, like a region that's belonged to us for over 1,000 years called Kosovo. We tried to fight back defensively and killed over 100,000 of their soldiers. But being the cowards that they are, Albania then warned NATO to drop a bomb on us.
Hmm. Yeah.
And just like that, over a couple of hundreds people were killed by blunt force trauma, secondary to the nuclear missiles, and over 600 kids had to be sent to the hospital, and they had to be on critical care. Most of them haven't even have never fully recovered from the incident to this day.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah. I mean, it's tragic. War is tragic no matter. It don't matter if you're on the right side or the wrong side of history, right? So, can I
Right.
ask? Would it be too personal? I ask. So your dad migrated? Uh,
He actually migrated back in 1986.
okay.
So he was lucky enough to avoid both the war in Yugoslavia and the bombing in NATO.
So, I guess if you don't mind me kind of
Go
asking
ahead.
this, well, now what was his? Did they did they vet him, or what was that? Did he ever talk about the process when actually coming over? Because you were probably born where he migrated to, right?
I was born in Canada.
Okay. So
Yeah.
when he migrated, I mean, did he ever tell you about the experience or what it was like, or?
Well, I mean, he just what he essentially did was he left the country with my mom in 1986, and she was pregnant with my older sister. And they they traveled and went, and they came with three sets of luggage. But when they arrived, it turns out that two luggages were missing, and that caused a very big panic, because then they weren't sure how they were going to survive without some of their luggage. But
Mhm.
so they had to stick with one suitcase, and then they managed to find a small house in Toronto. And my dad was just he was delivering pizzas and trying to make a living while my mom was pregnant and studying for her dental exams.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
because this is kind of funny because the video I'm been producing and hopefully getting out here tonight is that it's interesting to talk about first generation immigrants. It doesn't matter if they're coming to the UK, US, Canada. That first that first generation, I mean, they buckled down so hard in order to provide for their family that actually the second and third generation kind of gets that lost mix of identity. So I think it's kind of
Exactly. That's actually, when I got into my 20s, I had like no idea who I was or what I was supposed to do in my early 20s. And I was like, I'm not sure what the hell I should be doing, or like, whether what I'm doing now is meaningful compared to what my parents did. You just feel like, you're not able to live up to their expectations of what they provide for you because you won't be able to do the same things that they did when they emigrated here.
yeah. And I have nothing for respect for immigrants. I mean, I really don't care when it comes
Well,
to
here's the problem. Like, if it's like immigrants that, come here legally and they just do a good job and like, they provide for the society, I've got no quarrels with that. It's
right.
the illegal immigrants who are out there just trying to abuse the system for their own personal and selfish gain. Those are the ones I can't stand.
Well, funny enough, since we're speaking about it, you know who hates illegal immigrants? Immigrants that came here legally, that paid the fees, that took the classes to get
Exactly.
citizenships. It's not the indigenous people of that country, white folk or African Americans. It's the people that actually the millions of people that come here to America legally through immigration from Nigeria, other Middle East countries, South American countries, who go
Yeah.
through all that work while people are sneaking over the border. Those are the people that want a wall built. Those are the people that wants their rights protected because they
Yeah, but
they
they're
did
the
every
but they're the ones who are getting silenced because apparently it's just the people who were born in the country that want to build the wall. And then I'm like, oh my God, these people they're really trying to silence and everybody around them who also happen to be immigrants. It's fucking retarded.
well, once again, then we're talking about identity politics, right? So we're grouping people in. Well, you
Yeah.
get, and if you speak out of line with that narrative, then you're cast out as a Uncle Tom, a house nigger, everything, right? So
Exactly. I mean, like, my parents would definitely be like, cast out, like if they spoke about this. I mean, even though they're in Canada, like right now, I'd definitely be cast out if I ever asked. Well, I mean, obviously, I would definitely be cast out because I was born in Canada, and especially if I was against socialism.
yeah, so I'm not a big fan of socialism.
No,
Yeah,
I mean, here's the thing. Socialism works in some ways, like when you want to provide for people who don't have who haven't had a chance, especially when it comes to healthcare. But there has to be a balance. Like right
right.
now, it's 95% socialism, 5% capitalism when it comes to getting healthcare, like more advanced healthcare for people who have a disease such as like say they have a neurological problem or a cardiologic problem. They have to wait like for 6 months, and it just that's a
Yeah,
problem.
yeah. Like with me, with I don't like Obamacare. I want it repealed. But I don't like the thing that Trump's rolling out either. I would like it, and this is what the majority of people wanted. Go ahead and repeal it. Then what you do is you tell the insurance companies, you know what, you no longer have a monopoly on a state. All those borders to be broke up. Then you let competitors fight it out. Then you can cover people with pre-existing conditions and all this other stuff, and then you would have costs. I mean, that's free market can dictate that. Now, if for whatever reason it doesn't resolve the issue, then you know what? I'm okay with going. That's my liberal side showing. I'm okay for going to one payer. but I have to try the free market first because the free market's succeeded more times than a socialist kind of idea.
Well, the problem. Well, actually, I'm glad you brought that up because this has been going on since the LBJ era. Like, there was a video that I watched, which was like, talking about like, like how health insurance came to be, how Obamacare came to be. It didn't just suddenly start back in 2008. This has been going on like, yeah, since the 1960s, where it was eventually covering one broken promise after another,
Mm-hmm.
and then trying to cover their asses by moving forward instead of moving back to the decision where they screwed up.
Right. It was definitely the holy grail for Democrats in the United States. They needed that health care. One that's what they really want is one payer health care. Uh, but shit, government can't run anything. I can't think of one institution that the government runs that is ran well. So,
Mm,
but I mean, healthcare. Yeah, the whole healthcare thing. I mean, even if you look at Australia, which is supposed to have the best, where the government just pays for everything, and they have universal healthcare, but they tell you have to go out or jobs provide a secondary gap coverage healthcare. So for like dental, visual, and everything else to help cover the cost. But
well, I
anyways,
mean, yeah, that's
yeah, we could go down that rabbit hole for a while. But
yeah. I mean, like, well, I mean, like, it's not just yeah. I mean, I wish it was kind of like that, but I mean, there are a lot of other negatives with Australia as well.
hmm,
Like especially with their feminist agenda. I guess it's actually not that much different from Canada, since even though it is like a one payer health system, it's still, I mean, like they still manage to get like the general health care under control. It's just like when you have to deal with the higher specialties, like that part is like increasing, like it's becoming an epidemic with diabetes and heart attacks. And okay, that's, or when you have to do like specific tests, those things aren't covered by insurance, or like our insurance is called OHIP. So like everything is we have to pay out of pocket, and you only get covered after until you're 26 years old. Then you have to pay out of pocket, and you're like, okay, this is something has to, like, there has to be some kind of balance when it comes to having to get appointments immediately for higher end problems.
right. But I think in Australia, uh, they have some government hospitals, but a lot of the doctors are still independent. And I'm not sure. I'm starting to look into it because I've been having healthcare debates, and the way I feel, I'm now in Canada. You can buy like gap insurance, right? Like
I can
there's
pay what? Say that again.
you can buy like a independent insurance that's on top of your universal healthcare, or does even companies give you any kind of healthcare?
Well, I mean, the
Policy?
only healthcare we get, like the one that I have, is OHIP. So
Oh, okay.
as
Some
for other ones, like yeah, that's the one that's funded by the government of Ontario, and then each other provincial government, like they have their own form of they have their own type of healthcare. I mean, sorry, not healthcare, but insurance.
right.
But
Well,
the provisional rules are still the same. It's
well,
just under a different province.
see, I don't think you're grasping what I'm saying. So when we get older in America, we have like
Yeah.
Medicare,
Yeah, you have
but
Medicare. That's when you're 65, right?
right. So now there's another thing that's called like AARP, which is a gap insurance. So if your Medicare don't pay for it, your government health care, this other insurance that you pay for out of pocket will cover that
Oh, I see.
cost.
Okay, I see what you mean. I see what you mean. Yeah, that one I think you have to pay independently. That one you have to get your own
Right.
independent insurance.
So that's why I was wondering, like, if you go and get a corporate job, do they they don't offer any other health benefits because you got universal health care, right?
Yeah, my uncle worked for the government, so I think everything that he had to do was out of his pocket.
Right. Yeah. Okay. No, that's kind of where I'm at with that. As far as letting free market aside, then like I said, if we go to a single payer, I mean, I'd be okay with it, but we have to have some kind of, you have to have gap insurance or something, because if I want to go see a doctor, I want to go see a doctor tomorrow if I'm dying. So, but anyways, let's go ahead and shift off to something a little bit lighter, because we could go on to politics forever, because it's just a mess.
I mean, I've actually like been staying out of it like big time ever since since January. Right after Trump got elected, I just tried my best to stay out of it because right now, like all he's trying to do is just like make the left cry, and then like you have to go beyond that.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
move on
no,
from that.
everything's superficial. I mean, you could look at the Twitter and it's just fucking
Exactly.
cancer.
Like here, like actually, like here's what I want to move on to. Like this whole thing about superficial fights.
Hmm.
You just can't help but wonder whether that's also going on in the anti-feminist community, or should I say the shitlord community?
The shitlords, yeah,
Yeah,
it's it's weird. It's kind of weird because it's kind of like you're at high school and you okay. Have you played you? I would imagine you play sports in school, right?
yes,
Okay, so you're a part of a team. Not everybody on the team are in the same clique. So
no,
you have like 4 or 5 guys that always hang together and so on. So I kind of see that with the drama that kind of goes on, is that you have people that overlap, but they don't they they take they throw punches and jabs every once in a while. So I mean, I don't know. I think it's okay. I mean, internet drama is internet drama. It's just clickbait view kind of stuff
yeah. And the
sometimes.
problem is, like it's like you just can't help but wonder whether they have their own opinions
Well, I
because
think.
they're always talking about like the same kind of thing. Like whenever a new news event comes out,
Mhm.
they all jump to that event instead of coming up with something that you don't hear that's mainstream.
Well, I think a lot of that has to do with internet search. So they'll go and see what some of the hot topics are, and then that's the only thing they're going to do, because that's what people are trying to look up or look into. So you take whatever's trending in Google search, and you're like, okay, let's make a video of this. Where do I lie? And that's why you have some people regurgitating the same talking points, because they're just doing the story that's being searched that day or within
Yeah,
that
they're
week.
they're just trying to like spice it up to their own way.
Well, yeah, because you have people that are over the top, like Bearing. Then you have,
Well, Bearing's different because he does things like entertaining in an entertaining fashion, but he also tries to be level-headed about it. While people like the Warskis or some black guy, I think they're the ones that tend to go way over the top.
yeah, I think Bearing. Yeah, I could agree with that. And then you look at the other side, and you could kind of see from like Sargon, where he first started, where a lot more of his newer stuff are really just kind of there's thought points and there's original views of it, and I
Oh
don't
yeah,
think.
his original views was focused more on talking about different kinds of isms, like more
Right,
social sciences kind of thing.
right.
But now it's like just jumping onto like more pop culture events while still trying to keep his main core audience. So I think in that aspect, I don't think like Sargon hasn't abandoned his roots. they just decided to stem a different way and intersect with the other shitlords.
Right. Well, the thing I like about Sargon is that everything's factually based. I mean, a lot.
Oh yeah.
Some of it's emotional, but a lot of it is, you know, based in knowledge.
Well,
You
I
know?
mean, like Sargon himself is a liberal, so I mean, like, so you're gonna expect some kind of emotional response from him from time to time, but
Right.
he doesn't like go too far left. Like he manages to, still stick with the facts in
Right.
regards to like what articles he's trying to quote from,
Right.
and it's respectable. But I mean, there are a couple of points where Sargon has kind of went too far, like in some of his streams, like especially there was one that he did with Dave with Computing Forever, and that ended up with like a bit of a like them just not talking to each other for a couple of months. I'm pretty sure they forgave each other after that debacle. And then there's also this was like a minor thing. Like Sargon suggested that one solution to handling safe spaces was essentially to keep some kind of truce, like a peacekeeping kind of thing. And that I don't agree with, because you're essentially trying to negotiate between normal people and terrorists, and that doesn't work.
No. No truce. Well, the only standing truce that's ever really worked, or at least a ceasefire, the longest has been in North and South Korea. But
Yeah, all these other ones, like especially in like Ukraine, that's like tried to go on at least like 5, 6 times. All these accords, it's
Mhm.
all bullshit.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I understand. Like, I I like Sargon, and I like the way he approaches his videos. I don't agree with him all the time, but he makes me. I enjoy it. I mean, it's.
Yeah, I enjoy like when he talks about like fascism or socialism or any kind of ism,
Mhm.
that I'm pretty sure he knows what he's talking about. Like he's definitely has his he's covered his bases like extremely like properly.
Right.
But
Um.
then when it just like comes to other people who are like younger than him and more raised with pop culture mentality,
Mhm.
I think those are the ones who tend to crack under pressure the most. One
Right.
classic example, like with the Warskis, was when Andy decided to get drunk and then he started firing back at Teal Deer. You know who Teal Deer is, right?
Yeah, I've heard. Yeah, I've heard of him. I think I've watched a couple of his videos.
Yeah, yeah. Teal Deer is kind of a lone wolf. Like he's like he works a lot with biostatistics and like just doing research, reading research papers, and tends to do things his own way. And like sometimes he does intersect with a lot about what the shitlords are trying to comment on, but like he does things in a more he uses a scientific approach. So in a way you don't have to like him, but in a way another way, like I don't think he's ever been wrong, because everything that he's ever spoken about has been backed up with like a lot of like specific studies, like stuff that most people can't find by themselves. And that's what makes him unique, because he's able to explain everything logically and properly, and like he's able to make the situation clear when he's being sarcastic or trying to be serious about several things. Like one time when like with that specific situation though, like he gave some constructive criticism in regards to some of the alternate YouTubers like Roaming Millennial or um who else? That girl and what's her name? Blonde. They like made videos which he labeled as substandard.
Mhm.
But Andy took that the wrong way and he thought it was an insult. So then he decided to fire back at them while being partially intoxicated. So it's like, okay, some you just can't help but wonder whether some of these anti-SJWs tend to act just more. They tend to have the same id as SJWs do.
Well, I think there's definitely an in and out crowd mentality to anything. It's if you want to call it tribalism, to anything. So it's hard because even if let's say you and I try to reach out and have a conversation, the chances of our actually reaching out and having a conversation is hard because you're not in the in group. Um, So yeah, I can understand that. Like I said, I haven't watched too many of Teal Deer's stuff to. I don't want to make any kind of comments because this is the internet and it's always
Right.
going to be here. Um,
Oh, absolutely.
so, but yeah, I just think everything's you're always going to have that in and out group. Um, it's just like it's funny because I guess I can equate it to a conversation I had a few months ago. And since we've already talked about Dragon Ball Z, like I can have that conversation about Dragon Ball Z, then I can do about face and pivot and talk about politics. And
Sure.
one guy said, "Why do you guys talk about that gay shit?" I apologize. You have no comprehension of what we're talking about. But if you want to take
No,
time
no,
to
no.
learn, you're more than welcome
I
to.
know.
And he
It
was
it actually
embarrassed.
yeah, it happened. Yeah, and it does happen. Like you're right. Some people just have that in and out mentality. Like there's a couple of people that I have a group with on Discord called MGTOW moderates, and there's this guy like who he you could say that he has a PhD in when it comes to anime.
Mhm.
However, when it comes to several other things that don't involve anime, he tends to be not as well educated.
Right. And it's
And
the same.
like there's all these things going on.
Well, it's the same thing. You could take that guy has a PhD in anime. I can show you four guys that has PhDs in sports. You two are the biggest nerds of two different subjects. Why are you making fun of that guy because he likes something different than you? It's the same thing. You have an unhealthy relationship with football, or you have an unhealthy relationship with baseball. It's the same thing that he has. You
Yeah,
just
you guys just have like the same passion about two different things.
Exactly, and that's what I love, and that's why I like sports too. And even talking with people outside of common interests, because I might pick up on something I didn't know about, and that interests me, and I want to continue learning about that. So, I mean, that's the thing that I hate is communication is our oldest tool that we have as a species, and it's slowly dying because people are too defensive. They take criticism really hard, and I know
Yeah.
we talked about like I know you said you were an English or New England Patriot fan, right?
Yes, not hardcore, but I am a fan.
Okay, so if I sit there and start talking about your offensive line and how terrible they are, you might get offended by that because that's your team. I'm not saying that if you're on that hardcore level, you'll just start spitting out facts about, well, this person only gave up 4 sacks and blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, I understand that you're passionate about that team, but if you can't take criticism from somebody who's not a fan of that team, then
Oh
you
yeah.
might.
Then you have no reason to be calling yourself like a fan, like a grown up.
Right. And I've been trying to find people to have a conversation because my my basic realization when I first did a video for YouTube is politics and sports are the same thing. One's more acceptable to talk about, but you're as passionate about that sports team as you are your ideology. So
Oh, I'm actually glad you brought that up because that's exactly what my dad is. He's both a sports fan and a fan of politics and history. So, like you're right, they do intertwine a lot. In fact, like especially when it comes to FIFA,
mhm.
most of like FIFA is like it's all owned by the globalists as well. To try and make the U.S. like the more superior country when it comes to sports, and trying to make Russia look bad, which is exactly what they tried to do with the Sochi Olympics. Like it was all like just a platform so that they could give Western journalists a reason to bash Putin without actually focusing on what was going on during the Olympics.
Yeah, it's the
It's all,
Olympics.
it's all a competition, and it's fucked up.
Yeah, I mean that's the beautiful thing about sports is that it's an escape. But once you get into that realm and you're a diehard fan, it's politics. it's the same thing because you sit there and you talk about, especially if you're talking about professional sports. It doesn't matter if it's soccer, football, baseball, hockey. You sit there and you start talking about the economics. You're talking about how much cap space you have and all this stuff. So you can actually, if we can't talk about politics that works, you can't talk about sports that works because people get heated.
Exactly. Like look at the classic example with Kevin Pillar. Like when he made that so-called anti-gay joke.
Oh my God. Yeah.
That was like I was like, okay, this is getting like way too fucked up.
Well, and here's the thing though. People like look at LeBron James in the finals when somebody spray painted the word nigger on his front gate, supposedly. There's no pictures proving that it happened. It's just him saying that. They said they had to repaint it. By the time anybody got there, it was gone. But here's the thing. How many of those, since Trump's been in office, look at the fake false claims of swastikas. They want this outrage. Then they want to go to sports figures because the working class relates more with sports figures because that's their escape. And they want to talk about political issues. I mean, that's why ESPN laid off a bunch of people because people are just turning out. They don't want politics and everything. They want to escape. That's why Gamergate happened. They don't want that shit in that sphere because they want to get away from the mundane shit that they have to deal with until, their game comes on Sunday.
Well, that was the problem though. Like, most people were just minding their own business, trying to escape reality without realizing that reality was trying to come to them and
Yeah.
just like screw that up too.
Right. So, I
And now
mean,
look what's happened.
yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, politics in sports is the same way. It started in the civil rights movement, which I'm not against. I think Muhammad Ali made some good choices, but I think the other thing too is people forget his work after the civil rights and the way he talked about the way we should live our lives, regardless of what religion you have. Um, but that's a simpler time then. Everything's more complex now, and they want these sports figures to weigh in on. I mean, they don't have all the answers, and they shouldn't be mouthpieces because they're so mentally focused on the game they're playing that they can't really have those conversations.
Well, that's the problem though. They also want to make sure that they hang on to their jobs. I mean, like the same goes in Hollywood. Like it's all controlled by the Democrats.
Right.
Like, and they're all saying this shit just so that they can keep their job. I mean, there are some exceptions to the rule, of course, like Clint Eastwood, James Woods, and Tim Allen, who got like fucked big time this year.
Yeah, he did. And sponsorships, right? Because we know how well progressives like to start boycotts. So that's the other thing too, is you make a good living through a sports contract, but where you make your big money is through your sponsorships, shoe deals.
Exactly.
So
And that's a problem. Like right now with the NFL, it's Breast Cancer Foundation.
well, breast cancer. Well, and that's the thing. And I know you mentioned MGTOW a few times. It's so funny that there's such a huge expression or virtual signaling for breast cancer, which, yeah, I understand the effects, but I mean, even there's enough male cancers out there that we don't even talk to on a national level.
Yeah, prostate cancer, testicular cancer, because apparently that's not as important as breast cancer.
Right. Yeah.
But that's the problem. Here's the problem though. Like they've already made so much money. Why do they still need more if they have enough to to find a cure and get rid of it for good? And I'll tell you why.
Okay.
Because they don't want to find the cure. They want to keep sucking people dry.
Oh, I'm not going to deny that at all. That's.
Here's what I think.
It's just like church. I mean, church is kind of the same way, right?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I personally, church is like one of the biggest scams of all time. Like same with like religion to a certain extent. I mean, me personally, I think there is like someone up there who's watching me, and if I do good stuff, then I'll get rewarded. But at the same time, I still don't think that that person's name is, God, Jesus, or Buddha, or Vishnu.
Yeah, I think the Old Testament said it best. If you're gonna, if you believe in a designer, a god, if you will, just create that person, make that space within yourself, and that's the only place it needs to be.
Yeah, exactly. Just make it within yourself. I mean, I only believe in things that everyone else believes in if it's actually happened in real life.
Right,
Otherwise, I discount it.
right. I mean, it's hard to tell. I mean, as the world is too confusing to sit there but at the same time, I'm not going to sit there and tell somebody they can't believe in whatever they want. I mean, it's not my right to. Uh,
Exactly. Yeah, no, that's fair. Like, you can, yeah, just let people do whatever they want, but if they try to harass you, that's when I say, like, okay, now you've pushed it. I mean, like,
right,
same goes with people who are like gays or lesbians. Okay, fine, you can be gay and lesbian. Just don't try to fucking convert me into one.
exactly. Keep it, and I think that's what the West is built on. Be what you want to be the individual you want to be. Just don't don't bring
Don't
it
let
into me.
others,
Yeah,
don't let others, like, don't push it onto others. And that's like the part that they always leave out. Like, or maybe they censor it on purpose just so that they can try and find a way to manipulate others or just like manipulate words.
right. And I mean that was my problem back in the '90s with Christians. I mean, everywhere you went, video games are bad, music's bad. I mean, shut the fuck up. You have no right to tell me what I think is good and bad. The only person that has the right to tell me what's good and bad is me. I mean,
Well, I mean,
to
in
a
my
point, to a
opinion,
point.
well, I mean, like, I think mainstream music and video games are definitely shit.
Yeah, some of them.
Well, I mean, like me personally, I stopped listening to the radio 10 years ago, and I only listen to stuff that's like popular either in the '70s, the '80s, or the '90s.
There's some stuff I like in the early 2000s. There's not a lot of stuff I like now, but maybe it's because I'm old. But I understand. I understand that. Like, but I'm one of those people that music is whatever mood I'm in. Sometimes I'm in
Exactly.
Beethoven. Sometimes I'm in Marilyn Manson. Sometimes I'm in
Yeah.
Frank Sinatra. It doesn't matter. It's my mood dictates what I
Exactly.
want to
The
listen to.
mood determines what you want to listen to.
Right. And
And like even like when you're in a sad mood, you can't just like put on like something that's going to make you happy unless something like has suddenly changed your mood to become from sad to happy. It just doesn't work like that. Because then you're just forcing yourself to listen to something that's just not going to
oh,
make you feel genuinely happy.
you just want to turn that shit off. If I'm in a bad mood or I don't feel like listening, and I hear some like hip hop, pop stuff, I want to break the radio. I ain't even gonna lie. I don't want to listen to that.
Yeah, I mean, like most of the Canadian radio stations, they keep playing the same song like 10 times in one day, and I'm like, okay, well, it's obvious, like there's like nothing good to listen to.
No,
That's mainstream.
yeah, I'm not disagreeing, and I think that, I mean, I don't even. I'm pretty much. I cut every cord I had, so I I pretty much watch what I want to watch, and I don't watch
Exactly.
much TV. That's
How much? Oh my God. Well, Much TV was only considered like real Much TV back in the '90s and
right,
early 2000s
right.
when
So
they played actual music, and now it's just movies or like The Simpsons.
yeah, I think I watch more movies than anything. I started getting into the House of Cards, and I watch that periodically, but I don't watch too much TV anymore. I try to feed my brain a
Yeah,
little bit more
exactly.
than
Same here. Like I stopped watching like on a regular basis like mainstream when I was like back in 2012. Right now, like I only watch stuff on TV like that's like popular like Better Call Saul or Game of Thrones.
right or sporting events. I'll turn on the TV and I'll watch sports, but I can't do it anymore. It's fucking just cancer trying to watch some of that stuff. I have to watch, and in America, you have so many freaking advertisements for pills and prescriptions. I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, though like all that stuff on mesothelioma and like cancer. It's like it's all a scam just so that the lawyers can make money off you suing them, knowing that you're going to die from the condition. It's so fucked up. It's like people. It's like how can people not get this?
Well, I think a lot of our problems were, you know, not to bring Lacey Green into it, but she made easy.
Which Lacey Green are you talking about? Like the red pilled Lacey Green
the
or
red pilled.
the
She was
MTV
on.
Lacey Green?
She went on Dave Rubin, and she made a good point. I think we have doctors that are overworked, underpaid, and they try to throw a pill at whatever they think will work. And I think that a lot of our mental illnesses now are we're throwing pills at things, and we don't understand 100% what effects
Oh,
it
that
has
okay.
on the brain.
That I actually 100% agree with that because like I when I was doing my family medicine rotation,
Mm-hmm.
I was like I actually did some research and like I was like working at a clinic and they literally forced us to like make sure that we finish a doctor patient interaction within like 10 minutes.
Okay.
It's like they're literally trying to, just find a way to like tell the patient to first come in, we talk about your problems, then get out and you pay us.
Right. And that's
It's all
why.
become it's become like a just like a money clinic.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. And that's what scares me from to go into a single payer healthcare system from what we have in America, because you can pick and choose. Hey, this doctor's not handling my situation the way I want. I go somewhere else, and that's the thing that I think free markets uh, are best at, is to let businesses that don't work or can't work go away, but at the same time, we need more doctors, and we need to stop rushing pills out because we don't know
Oh,
what
here's the
effects.
problem though. Pills, like if everything about rushing pills, that's all like part of what Rockefeller was trying to push back a
Mm,
100 years ago.
yeah. So I mean,
Like
that's what.
everything used to be natural medicine. Like, if you had like a rash on your arm, you would just like treat it with some like natural oils. Now
Mhm,
you have to take a steroid.
right.
And steroids, like in the long run, you end up with diabetes and it can cause osteoporosis.
Right. Yeah. Not to make you sigh again, but Lacey brought up another good point, is that when she had depression, and she had every pill, and she actually went to an MD that looked at the chemistry in her brain to see what was missing, and she's now taking like supplements to um, fix those blank spots, and she's felt better. So we don't know everything about the human body, but we are so addicted to taking a pill for something that we don't know the effects, the long term effects that it has on
No,
us.
that's the problem though. They don't tell us the long-term effects. They only say make sure that you're on this pill every day so that way it's going to help regulate the chemicals or the neurotransmitters that are
Mhm.
necessary to help you live a normal life. They don't tell you about the side effects or the real relapses. They only tell you the short-term side effects. So
Right.
that way, you don't feel insecure and it's fucked up.
Yeah, it is, and I would not disagree with that. I think we need more, and that's the thing about.
Here's the problem though, like the problem that I have, that's going on with like other doctors, like alternate natural supplement doctors, is that they're actually getting killed because they're refusing to prescribe pills from big pharma. Like there's a doctor I know called Dr. Jeff Bradstreet. He was giving like natural supplements to help treat people, like cure people of autism, and he cured like over 5,000 patients. Next thing you know, they find his body at the river.
Right. Yeah, well, because that's big business, and
Yeah.
you know, not to go down the conspiracy pathway, but I mean, you could see that happening, especially when people can find natural, safe cures for things, and it's a multi-billion-dollar industry. Um, so yeah, especially I know we pay more in medication than anybody around the world. Like it costs us more. We produce most of it here, but it costs us more for some apparent reason. Um, but yeah, I think the society at large is over subscribed with medication. I think that's half the problem. But yeah, so yeah, that's where I stand on that tangent when you talk about medication. So
Well, all I know is that like the reason why they started making these prescription medications was to just eliminate the competition, like the natural alternative competition.
so would you subscribe to the reason why marijuana is still illegal is because it has positive effects on cancer?
Correct. Well, not just cancer, but also seizures, any inflammatory condition, and any behavioral, like any kind of anxiety.
Right. So would you be because I had this conversation too. I don't care. I think we should be legalized. I can see the benefits, especially in different states with taxing and getting revenue for it. Um, cannabis oil and stuff like that.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Like, 50% of doctors in like several states like Minnesota, like they all actually, and Pennsylvania, they actually want to prescribe them to their patients.
Yep. So I'm 100%. I don't know if I would legalize heroin the way we have
Well, I mean, heroin was
epidemic.
actually marketed in the 1890s, in the late 19th century, as a treatment for persistent cough.
Really? Well, I mean, we use heroin now. I mean, if you take an Oxycontin or it's all synthetic heroin.
Well, yeah, it's synthetic heroin. They're all like part of the same family. They're opiates.
Right. So, yeah. I mean, so would you be along the lines of just legalizing everything?
Well, I only legalize the stuff that has that has more benefits than risks.
Okay.
That's my point of view. Like if it has like a benefit to the human body, like overall a positive overall benefit, then I would definitely legalize it. If it has an overall negative, then I'm not going to let him take it.
Okay. So you're not you're not a fan of legalizing crystal meth
No.
then?
Crystal meth or LSD, I would not legalize. I would definitely legalize shrooms because like that can help like with memories. But LSD, I see no benefit at all. I mean, just by talking to people who have been on it, they said like like the worst, like especially the rush that you get at the end, it's not worth it.
See, I've had LSD a couple of times and I can't remember any of that. But those
Well, that's the problem. You can't like, but you know that you've been through it.
right. Well, maybe. Yeah. I'll give you that. It was
It's a
long.
subconscious thing. It's a subconscious thing. So, maybe if you like, you're having a dream, you'll definitely, remember it.
Uh, hard telling. It was a long time ago. I'm old now. I'm frail.
What do you mean by old?
I'm getting close to my 40s, so.
Oh, okay, because I'm 26.
Oh yeah, you're still a puppy.
I wish, not for long.
No, but that's why I said when I was 26. But I tell you what, those years sneak up on you quick.
You don't have to remind me.
But yeah, so I mean, like I said, I have no issue with making marijuana the same thing tobacco is. I mean, you know how much money America would make in just marijuana sales, and it would be
Well, it's good that you brought it up because Bill Gates actually, Microsoft is trying to make like they're trying to sell like marijuana to their customers, make it legal.
I have no problem with that. I think it should be legalized. I think anybody
I
that
know.
has
Well, here's my problem though. When a major corporation tries to take control of something that's natural, they're eventually along the line they're going to try and either make the price either too high or they're going to try and manipulate, like genetically modify the marijuana and try to just like ruin everything, and then it'll become cancerous.
hmm.
That's my only concern that I have whenever a major corporation tries to take over like a product that's otherwise good for you.
Yeah, but you can still grow marijuana naturally.
You can, yeah, but you just have to be careful where you're growing it. Like you can't like because otherwise you will get caught. I mean, in Great Britain, I think it's illegal to do that. You can actually get jail time for that.
Oh, no. I'm saying if we go down the route where marijuana was eventually legal, like if it was like,
Okay, that's different. Yeah, if we're
okay,
talking about like
that's
if we're
what we're
talking about
talking.
like the West Coast, like Washington or
Yes.
Colorado, then yeah, that's a different story.
Yeah, that's the line of logic I was following.
Okay, that's fine.
So let's say like Microsoft gets behind a big push to legalize marijuana throughout the United States, then yeah, I understand where you're coming from. They might mutate what they wanted with the marijuana, but at the
Yeah,
same
and the
time,
reason why
me
they
as a
mutate it is so that they can get a profit off it, and so that way they have a patent to make sure that nobody else tries to copy the way they do it.
right, but at the same time, me as an individual, I could just grow marijuana myself. That's
Exactly. Like
right,
that's essentially like what you want to be in the end. You want to be doing things your own way without
right.
anybody else trying to, harass you, which is essentially why I'm a MGTOW as well.
Uh, I'm not a MGTOW, but I definitely don't like people harassing me, and that's why I, I kind of feel the way I do. I mean, I guess I have looked at some of the MGTOW stuff, but not in depth. Um,
Well, I mean, like the key thing you just need to know is that like, MGTOWs, like we can't trust women or like people who have manipulated us the way like before. We've become aware of what they can do in general, and we're not going to play into their trap.
right, but when you just, I would do. Oh my god, can you still hear me?
I can hear you.
Oh, okay, my computer screen shut off. Um, I was gonna say, when you chalk that up to life experiences too, because like if I had a friend that turned their back on me, we're not gonna have that same relationship anymore. So, um, you almost have to go. Everybody builds walls, and an individual that comes into your life has to break down those walls. But you want to have a certain set of group of people, and I don't know. I guess I can't.
No, I see what you're trying to say. Like you don't want to be like alone for the rest of your life.
No,
Like you
I
can't.
no. Being alone for the rest of life is a personal choice. I'm just saying that um, you can like I understand where the feminism stuff comes from, and I dislike it. At the same time, if I have an interaction with a woman, yeah, I always have that thought in the back of my head that I have to protect myself, and maybe that's the ways I was always brought up to be because I've
No, that's
always
a good thing. And you like because in a relationship, the man always has to be the leader. He has to be the one guiding everybody. Otherwise, the whole thing becomes chaos.
I would disagree with you at certain points because once you get into that relationship where you have that trust and that bond, then she can. It's like you're the bridge over the cliff to both sides, and she's going to be the pillar. She should support you, and you should do the same thing for her.
Well, I agree. Like if the woman, here's the thing: if the woman is willing to support me, then I'm for that. Absolutely.
Right.
The problem is like those kind of people out there are becoming fewer and fewer. They're becoming extinct like the dodo bird.
Oh, we just talked about this when we talked about having conversations. People, you can't find people that want to sit down and have honest and truthful conversation and not get defensive about it. I think that's just the mindset of the last couple of generations. Everything's material and shallow at this point. Hopefully
Well,
we'll
I think technology has played a big role in that because that's why that's why we're talking right now. Like back a few weeks ago, we didn't know who we are, but now we're able to comfortably talk about like what we feel like, even if we disagree with each other. There's no there's no vendetta.
right. And that's the great thing about technology. The only thing is now we got to do in the real world too, right? We got to be able to be comfortable enough with ourselves to actually have those conversations. And that's why the internet's always been a double-edged sword, is because you
Oh
have
yeah.
anonymity. I can't even speak now.
An anonymity, yeah. An anonymity, yeah.
Yeah, and so you're always shielded from that backlash. When you're out in real life, you're naked, right? Emperor with no clothes. So, I mean, it's just weird. It's just weird, the mindset of how people think now. Maybe I'm just an
Well,
old
well,
soul.
also like how people think and who they communicate with.
And how they communicate is very
Exactly.
important. Yeah.
Exactly.
So, like I said, I mean, I'm sure like I could sit down, have a drink at the bar with you, and it would never flare up to a point. It might get loud at some points, because especially if we talk about something that we were both passionate about, but it would never be like, okay, let's take this outside because I'm going to beat your ass, because I I can't I can displace my beliefs from who I am. Like, I can let my beliefs go and we can have a discussion about that, and I won't take it personally. People can't
Sure,
detach those two
absolutely.
things.
Yeah, here's the thing about what most people know about, but they don't realize. There's going to be disagreements. People are going to yell at each other. It's all about how you're able to handle it, and like whether it's going to like affect things in the long run. That's where most people, I believe, have difficulty controlling themselves, and whether you're able to figure out what their true intentions are, which is what I got from the Warskis when they decided to attack teal deer. I was
Mhm.
like, okay, where do their true intentions lie? Do they really want to inform people, or are they just trying to trying to make a quick buck? Because like one thing I found hypocritical, what they said was like, we're not doing this for money, and yet they said thank you to a $500 donation on their live chat. I was like, okay, yeah,
No,
that's
okay,
that's kind of
first, yeah. No, first of all, anybody on YouTube that's not trying to get views is lying. Anybody who's trying on YouTube that's not trying to get a little extra change in their pocket's lying. Be honest about it. You hope your video hits. You hope that your ideas get, your platform gets bigger. And with a bigger platform, you would like to have some money coming in. So your time is being rewarded in some kind of measure.
But
Um,
that's my problem though. Like most people don't want to admit that.
because
Like they
people,
don't want to make themselves look like a bunch of greedy pigs.
right? Well, no, I think everybody, if you don't admit that you have any greed, then you can't be human, because we are greedy people in nature. I mean, it depends on what your poison is. You're gonna have an overabundance of something. So, I mean,
Yeah.
it's sad. And I, I mean, I don't think if my YouTube channel ever got like big, I don't think I would ever do commercials. But I would do the Patreon thing or the live stream thing. But
Right. I
I'm not
mean,
going to go out and get a corporate sponsor for my shit.
of course not. Like me personally, look at me. Like I've been doing videos for about a year now. Like it's almost same time as Bearing. Like he has over almost 400,000, and I only have 130. But I'm not complaining because I'm not doing this for personal gain. This like for financial gain. I'm just doing this because I want to do it.
Right. Well, I
Like
think
I have nothing to gain by like getting extra money. I mean a little bit of extra money is nice, but I mean I have something to fall back on in terms of financial situations.
right. I think that's the thing too, is that I think if you had that same platform, you would kind of go the same route. But I mean, if you don't enjoy what you're doing, or if you're not enjoying it, then you might as well just stop. Um, because
Well, I mean, like in my case, like it's not that I'm not enjoying it. It's that like I don't have the same availability as like other YouTubers out there because they're doing this full time. This for me is definitely part time.
yeah, me too. Maybe I misspoke, or we had a miscommunication. I'm just saying, if you had that same platform where you could be full time, then your situation would change, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I could blow up. I could make some crazy ass video and blow up overnight. And if it could set me up where I could do this full time, then I would love to. And not for the fact that I'd be making money, But if I could actually, if my ideas help somebody to either A, strengthen their ideas that they personally have, or challenge their ideas, either one I'd be happy with, and that would be a good thing.
Yeah, and that's like, that is by itself is like a struggle, like within the normal YouTuber, to make sure that they're able to like have the right balance between giving criticism and handling criticism. Like, and being neutral about it. It's like, okay, you're entitled to your opinion, but at least tell me why you think you're like that while providing some proof. And don't try to, and like the only time I get enraged is when people try to present stuff which is false, or
Right,
is like, or is just straw manning.
right. And a lot, I think a lot of people don't. I think so. People are so out of touch with how to uh, handle a conversation or how to build a conversation, um, that they tend to strawman a lot of people because they don't understand, or they don't have the logic to understand why it's strawmanning something. So
But that's, well, yeah, like, but again, that also like, falls back to like how people communicate today, and like insecurity, how it's definitely, increasing like big time. I mean, right now it's become like I'd say it's a huge epidemic in the United States now, with even with prepubescence, when it comes to like, social insecurities. And now it's, of course, it's probably at its highest like between the generation, like the Generation Xers, those between 18 and 34.
right. Well, I think a lot of the problems too is that in education, like you sit there and you coddle everybody. It's like if you don't get any kind of bacteria in your body, your immune system's weak. If you sit there and just keep kids in such a clean area where they can't handle that kind of criticism or rejection of other people, then they're going to be so weak to it they can't they break. They're so
They
fragile.
break easily when they're not exposed to it. And yeah, that's a problem. That's a huge problem. I mean, it's not just with criticism, but it's also with life itself. If you haven't been exposed to doing like a regular chore in your whole life, you're not going to survive. I mean, me personally, I'm definitely someone who's been spared the rod way too many times. But I've still tried to like, express an interest in trying to, be my own person.
Right? Yeah, I agree. Um, I think, yeah, I think nobody invests. Ugh, I can't even speak right now. No one
Yeah, take
invests.
your time.
No one invests enough time into raising kids anymore. I think everything's superficial.
Oh
Um,
yeah, definitely. Here's the problem. Like the reason why they can't like make kids is because they themselves haven't been able to grow up. They feel like they haven't experienced everything in their lives, which is why some people want to have kids like later on. Like they haven't like, been through like the real hardships that the baby boomers have, which included war, which included like, sacrificing their jobs, like immigration, that kind of stuff.
right. I think a lot of people use kids now as tools, especially in Canada, where now you have so many people saying they have transgender kids, and uh,
Yeah.
so I think it's virtual signaling at some point that
Oh yeah.
they actually use their children as tools for showing how progressive they are. I think that's the point that we're getting to.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right. Like a lot of that has to do with the parents. I mean, like especially with like the news about that actor who, like that 10-year-old actor who claimed to be both a man and a woman. And I was like, okay, obviously the parents did something wrong with this kid, and like he's gonna end up with a very bad childhood and future.
Right. And that's where I think like people that have gender euphoria needs to see psychologists. I mean, you can look at
But
the stat.
here's the problem though, like all these like DSM-5 like psychological disorders, they're all made up. They're all made up so that they can make people with certain anxieties or certain insecurities feel better about themselves. That's like the whole reason why they were created. Like all these like generalized anxiety disorders, general depression kind of thing. Like not like depression and anxiety in general, but like the like certain spectrum disorders and like subspecialties of these personality disorders. I think those are all fake.
I I could probably agree on some of that, but when we
Well,
sit
yeah, that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about like the specifics, not in general.
okay. Well, getting back to my point when I was talking about gender euphoria, I think honestly they should be treated with psychologists, not somebody with an MD that could take body parts off. I think, like we said earlier in the pre-chat, that the success rate, you can look at the statistical data, and you can see that there's more people that commit suicide in the trans community than Jews did under Nazi Germany. It's because nobody knows what's going on, and it's the science is not there yet. So, um, I agree that I think we've already agreed that we prescribe too many pills and we overwork our doctors, and that's kind of why when people go into universities, we need to start pushing people into the medical field because we're just so big, we're overpopulated. Our population's so big, we need to have more doctors and
Well, I mean, it's
psychologists.
not so much about having more doctors, but it's about having doctors that aren't going to, be impartial or biased.
And you're going to always have people that are impartial and biased.
While I mean, like I'm talking about, sorry, I should rephrase that. I mean, like impartial and biased in regards to, a major like, major political issues like gender bias and identity politics.
Yeah, we asked that of judges and politicians, and we still can't get that. Well, maybe not politicians, but at least for judges, especially in the States, you're supposed to take yourself away from your political biases and rule only by law. So it's hard, and anybody who says they don't have a bias one way or the other is just a liar. Um, Everybody has a
Well, I mean,
bias.
like, yeah, definitely don't have a bias, but like, like, okay, definitely have a bias, but make sure it doesn't impact like, what your job or how you handle people.
I agree. I'll agree with you to that. I think everybody needs to be at least self-aware of themselves enough where they they know themselves enough where they can interact with other people and not take old experiences and apply it to somebody new.
Well, of course, that's a big problem that most baby boomer parents have right now because they have no idea what's going on, like with identity politics, like how it's affecting our generation. Like they're still like trying to say that okay, this is just something that's going to pass over. It's not going to pass over. It's going to get worse if we don't do anything.
Well, at the same time, if you look back at history, the pendulum's going to swing. When it swings, I hope it don't swing too hard because I don't think it needs to go that far right. But if people on the left, just like other people with on the right that have extreme groups, if they don't call those people out and ostracize themselves from those people, you're going to have a hard swing to the right, and no one's going to like it. I won't even like it. Then I guess we'll have the same thing going on today as in the future. Everything that's left is going to start being pulled farther left because everything to the right is going to be pulled farther to the right.
The rich get richer and the poor get poorer. Markovnikov's rule.
Always. And that's why I like, you know, say what you will about the working class, the people that, you know, are down towards the poverty level, just above it. Uh, those people, they don't care, man. They care. They don't care at all. Give them their sports games or give them their video games, and they don't give two fucks about what's going on in the world because they're too worried about putting food in their family's belly and a roof over their head.
Well, I mean, or maybe, some of them used to be like, middle class, and now they're just like, right now they just stopped giving a shit about like, paying anymore. So now they just want to join the lower class.
Yeah, I tell you what, especially when Obamacare hit, I paid double in insurance in like
Shit.
2 years. It was crazy.
Wait, which state are you in right now?
I'm in the state of Michigan.
Oh no. That means that yeah, your premiums have gone up 50%.
Yep.
Oh fuck.
But see,
Godspeed.
yeah, I know. That's why I'm talking about monopolies and insurance borders. You need to deregulate that shit so we can have open competition. I mean, I don't know how the free market's going to work because we've never allowed free markets to work in the healthcare industry. Well, we have, but it's on the service provider and never on the insurance companies. So, I mean, it's stupid. Because didn't we just go through Microsoft? You can't buy all these little companies. You got to have competition. Okay. Well, why don't the insurance
Well,
companies
John
have?
Rockefeller said that competition was a sin.
Well, it is for some people.
It's only for those like who are insecure about getting their asses beat.
Yep. That's why that's why I like liberalism. I want less regulations to a point. To a point, I think we have to have less. Restricting markets is not a good thing. But you want to go into something a little more lighthearted, or do you?
I think we're gonna start wrapping it up.
I think so too. I think I'm about ready for a drink, and my mine's about fried.
No, that makes two of us,
But
minus the drink.
yeah,
All right, but yeah, let's do this again sometime. All right, subscribe to yeah, please subscribe if you haven't already, and also subscribe to Balcony Seats because so far he seems like a good guy, and if he backstabs me, then I guess he's not a good guy.
never. I would openly criticize you to your face because I have no problem telling the truth.
Okay, now that's refreshing.
So awesome.
All right, beautiful.
Appreciate your time, and I'll talk to you here soon.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for coming.
Yep. Bye.
All right, and we are